Welcome to Networking Working, the podcast where real business stories meet meaningful connections. Brought to you by Business Matching UK, the UK's first business matching membership service with a business opportunity guarantee. Whether you're building something new, scaling something established, or just exploring smarter ways to move your business forward, you are in the right place.
Welcome back to Networking Working. This week, we're going to hear all about the original BMUK group, PLMS. Welcome back to the podcast, Paul.
Hello.
Can you take us back to the origins of PLMS? Where did it all begin, and what was the original aim?
As I've said in previous episodes, I've been networking and part of business membership organisations for 30 years. Good experiences and bad. And I got to the point after COVID where everybody was coming out to play again, engaging again, and it just felt like nothing had changed. And it was just back in the same groove with the same frustrations. So many people have said to me, even though I've got my own 10-year-old digital business, why don't you set a network up? You're really good at it. You know a lot of people. Just organise it. I said, I haven't got time to do that. But I made the time. I thought, well, it can help my business to grow as long as I'm professional about that. So I thought, well, the way to do this, to get attention from the plethora of networking groups out there, was to call it after myself. And people go, that's a bit arrogant. And I said, no, the reason, being ex-military, I was sticking my head above the parapet to call it the Paul Lawton Matching Service. So nobody could misunderstand. It was Paul Lawton providing a matching service. So it wasn't just me, there was a team around me, but I took responsibility and the lead. So the words in the matching service is what's in business matching now. People want opportunities, and the main thing we find that they want that's very successful is once they've got to know each other and there's an element of collaboration within our structure, the main thing is to link them up together inside the group and with people outside the group with partnerships that create a whole flood of business opportunities. Yeah. So the reason it was called PLMS was after me. So nobody could say, well, who runs this? Who's in charge? Who does this? Who does that? And some people will have thought, who do you think you are? But on the other hand, someone had to put their hand up and volunteer to start the cultural change in our region. It was only meant to be in our region. I've always dreamt of national, international, but if you can't get it right at home, you're never going to get it right anywhere else. So on the 7th of May, 2024, we launched it on a Zoom meeting, and the guy who did the breakout rooms has become my business partner now, which is Phil Pugh. So for 7 months, we were PLMS until the famous email on Christmas Eve. I got an email off Phil. I thought it was a joke. I had no idea he was thinking of selling his own business, releasing some capital. He said, I'll invest in your idea, especially if you want to take it national. So ironically, I'd registered a business called Business Matching UK on Friday, the 20th of December, 2024. I didn't get Phil's email till Christmas Eve, obviously the 24th of December. So for me, believing in the secret and the law of attraction, I attracted that somehow, probably not. But anyway, the main thing is it shows I had the intentions to repeat the model that I'd built. But I knew that I was building it manually, and if I was ill, there was no backup, and that's not fair on the members. So we began to systemize it and organize it, and I used some of my admin team. But we entered this year in a very, very different scenario, that Phil was going to digitalize the business, which he's done, and we were going to launch in Leeds and Manchester first, which we've done, and we were going to build the franchise model, which we've 75% done, and then launch to as many towns and cities as we can with 100 members in each town and city in one group only. And that was it, really. So we couldn't nationalise a business that's called after me because I felt uncomfortable. And then when we launched Leeds and Manchester, or pre-launch, people are saying, is PLMS a different type of group? No, it's the same thing. Well, why is it not called business matching? So in the end, the pressure of the marketing people got to me. I realised they were right. I'm being quite frank and honest. If you don't know me, you might not believe this. Couldn't get my name off there quick enough. I was quite happy to get it off. It's took some doing, even this morning. A member from the Northeast, which is now BMUK Northeast or NE. Someone this morning mentioned PLMS, so I corrected them jokingly to get rid of that culture. But it served me well. I suppose it's proven I was prepared to do it alone. But it's a lot easier with someone like Phil, because when he rode the Atlantic 6 years ago, he did it with someone else. He must have felt isolated and lonely at times, especially when the other Paul was asleep in the boat. You get the book, read it, it's wonderful. But point being that he had someone to share it with, and now I've got Phil.
It's great to know that the first iteration of BMUK, PLMS, already had a brand built up. It's great to move it on to bigger and better things with BMUK. But like you say, It is now national. How's that brought new structure, new goals, and has it brought a fresh energy to the organisation?
That would be an understatement with the greatest of respect. It's like Friday afternoon, just before a bank holiday, and most people are in a positive mood. With this idea, I'm like that on a Monday morning because I know it can change things. I know the SMEs of this country are in trouble. They're looking for something energetic and different that does what it says on the tin. They're fed up of the same old, like most of us are politically without mentioning politics. They want something to change, doesn't cost an arm and a leg, that not everybody can get in, that's structured and disciplined and makes promises that it keeps. And that's not easy to do, but that's what we've got. So I've now got over 60 people who've registered to join one of our groups in their town or city where there's room for 100 of a set number in each occupation, usually one, sometimes two, but never more. So I've got a HR lady, for example, in Aberdeen, and she's the only one out the 100 in the whole town who has registered her interest. But they're all over the place, and it's growing and it's developing. And the other groups are talking about us, not always in a positive way, in a sort of disbelieving way. The attitude is, you can't expect us to do that. We're not built to do that. We don't want to do that. The members don't expect us to do that. But they do. They do expect you to do that, but they never ask because they never think they'll get. And what we decided was to give them it. And some still don't believe us. Some in our groups are still new and they still go to other networking groups. And do you know what? We encourage them. We only meet physically face-to-face every 6 weeks. We only meet physically on Zoom every 3 weeks. But in between, every day and every hour, there's interaction. But the main thing is, people are getting business opportunities by the hour. And that's what matters. That's what they want from business. I can't believe that people still want to go to the same networking group every week with the same handful of people. And if it's working, great, but in most cases it's not. But they keep doing it because they don't know what else to do. It's a habit. We're not being radically different for the sake of it. We're being effectively different through more than 50 years of networking experience between Phil and I.
It's a bit of a comfort blanket for some people, isn't it? Maybe that's where they started. They may have had a bit of a spark or support in the beginning. Perhaps people feel that they owe those groups something, so they keep renewing their memberships. But there is no problem in switching things up. And I think that's a very interesting point that you made about other groups. There are some networking groups out there that are specialists for creatives or accountants or whatever. And that complements BMUK very well. And I don't think this is a all your eggs in one basket kind of situation, but definitely your main basket needs to be giving back to you.
I agree. Yes. I mean, there's some very well organized groups, but a lot of them now have descended into chit chat, conversation, almost a social aspect. We don't get involved in drinks evenings or lunches, or you'd be lucky if you get a biscuit. But at the end of the day, people are there for work. We're very serious, although we have a good banter between us, as people have witnessed, Phil and I. Don't know which one's Morecambe and which one's Wise. But at the end of the day, we're both very, very serious about creating something that makes a change. And I'm asked every single day the same question. Why is your membership only 6 months? How does the guarantee work? And when you're launching your next group in my city because someone's got the place of my occupational specialism? And the answer always is to the last one, never. Never. We won't open more than one group. But if you've got 195 towns and cities to go to put 100 businesses in, that's nearly 20,000 people. That's going to take some doing and some time, although we're well on the way and we know what to do and how to do it with the franchise experts that we've engaged. In which case, why would we open a second group in the same city, even as huge as Leeds or Manchester, especially Manchester? We could open many groups. But if you think about it, if we've got 2 HR specialists, one big and one small in Manchester, and we open 2 more groups, we need to find opportunities for 6 HR people, not 2. So that's going to be a lot harder. So why make life harder for yourself? We can open up in other towns or cities where we've got no presence. It's always easier to find opportunities for less people who value their position because they've got it. So our dream is, and we think it's going to come true, the franchise people didn't believe me at first, but I think they now can see it. We get the marketing and message right with podcasts like this and the people that we use digitally. If the message goes out to towns and cities before we get there, there's every chance that the groups will be pre-filled, a bit like an Oasis, Coldplay, Glastonbury concert situation, using the system I've talked about, which is oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley, the Australian. We'll be able to pre-fill towns and cities. So the hardest part for our franchisees will be to raise the capital, believe in it, launch and fill the group. But if the group's pre-filled, you only need to raise capital for 8 weeks and they've got the money back and they're in profit and the group's pre-launched. And friends are telling friends, like I've already said, with more than 60 people registered. Now, that's not many. If we're going to go for 5,000 or 20,000, 60 odd isn't many, but we haven't even advertised yet. That's just word of mouth. So people are looking for something different, but they're suspicious and they're right to be so. So we encourage everyone to come to one meeting, preferably the face-to-face, but most of them end up on a Zoom with me. I do 5 or 6 a day. I find out about them first. I won't keep the Zoom with them. Twice this week, I've had to cancel Zooms because their place and their city's gone. And I won't waste people's time on my own. So I'm very polite. I just say, got a set email. I'm really sorry, but your position's gone in your city. If we can keep in touch, because there will be other groups that open up around your city. For example, around Manchester, I suspect we'll end up with a group in Chester and a group in Preston, up and down the M6. But they're nowhere near Manchester, so they're no threat to Manchester. But if somebody in Preston joined the Manchester group, finds out there's one going to Preston and would rather be in that one, it can transfer for free. And then we'll replace them in Manchester. It's quite simple, really.
This episode of Networking Working is brought to you by Business Matching UK, the UK's first business matching membership service with a business opportunity guarantee. If you're tired of turning up to networking events that lead nowhere, BMUK guarantees to offer something different. Structured, supported, and strategically driven business development, designed to connect the right people in the right way at the right time. With a blend of face-to-face and online meetings, plus 7 unique mechanisms, BMUK guarantees real business opportunities, and that guarantee is the cornerstone of what makes us different. Stop chasing leads and referrals. Start matching with meaningful opportunities. Register your interest today at www.business-matching.co.uk. Business Matching UK. Matching ambition with opportunity.
Just to clarify, if somebody joined the Manchester group, say they were a mortgage advisor, that doesn't stop them being matched with someone who's in the Northeast group. So there's still inter-group collaboration going on, even if they're only one of 2 places in one group, one city.
Yes, well, there's room for one mortgage broker in Manchester, which is Michael. So there won't be another one. Well, I'll give you a better example. HR lady joined in Leeds, and the first thing I did was introduce her to the HR people in Manchester and the Northeast. And people go, well, they're competition, aren't they? No, there's so many different facets to HR. They've all booked a Zoom, and I'm sure something will come out of it. So you start with their direct competitors, which sounds ridiculous. Then obviously there's the people in their own group. Then what you're alluding to is there's an intranet on the website that gives them an ability to connect with each other across the cities. And the more cities that come on, the more connections there are. Then they splinter off into sector groups. For example, a sustainability group in the Northeast. It takes a few months to establish this, but the sustainability group in the Northeast has got 14 members in. So that's a lot of members, and they tend to meet after our 6 weekly face-to-face meeting. They stay in the building, we get them an area allocated, and the different groups meet up. And a lot of them get more business in those sector group meetings than in the main meeting, because they're with people who are relevant to them. Another good example, a Northeast member, ironically, was in the same regiment as me, but I didn't know him in the army. We're in the same town. Our paths never crossed. He's been in the Northeast group since it began. There's a guy joined the Leeds group last month. I introduced them then last Saturday. They both got in the cars and vans, and they drove between Leeds and Newcastle, and they met halfway, had a cup of coffee, had a 3-hour meeting, and they've agreed a partnership, and now they're working on projects together. Now, if that's not true collaboration, I don't know what is. So the Leeds meeting at the Village Hotel, who've joined as members as well. So all our meetings in Leeds are at the Village Hotel. And thank goodness it's free car parking. One of the hotels we went to, I won't name, £2.50 an hour for car parking. We don't want stuff like that. So basically, Terry is coming down to the Leeds meeting because he's now in partnership with Artemis. So the pair of them are going after projects together because they both got something unique. They're good lads and they want to work together. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for us. That's what I was saying before about partnerships. We've got to get every member 6 business opportunities for the one-off guarantee in the first 12 months. So those two, with what they're going to get together, with some of the other members are outside of the group, they'll fulfill their guarantee through their partnership, through one introduction. But it's got to be a balanced introduction, a carefully considered introduction. It doesn't happen by chance. So we use AI. We use my comms manager, Dawn, who knows all the members, and she does a 15-minute book call every 5 or 6 weeks. And she asks the set questions, which have been designed specifically. All the information goes into AI, and then the opportunities are sent out. Now, some people say, well, some of these opportunities aren't great, so we don't send them because they're not relevant. But we don't throw them away. I'll give you a quick example. One of our members in the Northeast, he made a request this week, and there's nobody in any of the towns or cities we've got who can fulfill it. But I personally know someone who I used to be with in another business group, so I've introduced him to him. People might say, well, he's not a member of BMUK. Why are you sending him business? But you've got to look at it the other way around. If it gets an opportunity for our member, I don't care if the business is on Mars. It doesn't matter. It's about the member getting the opportunity, preferably with someone in the group. But if there's no one in the group who does what he wanted, which is quite specialist, I've introduced him to a specialist who I know and respect. So he's happy. In which case, there's a tick for Aussie's guarantee, because he's got exactly what he asked for.
You mentioned previously that the membership is only 6 months. I'm sure no one's going to assume that after 6 months you kick them out, but that is the minimum membership term, isn't it?
It is. The reason it's 6 months is to keep us on our toes, but we provide the members with a 14-point engagement guide. If they totally ignore it, don't engage, and they're gaining no benefit, we reserve the right to ask them to leave after 6 months. Now, I've asked 2 members to leave in Newcastle already. That was for, let's just say, unprofessional networking practices that aren't acceptable. They were both warned twice. I've seen them both recently. They both shook hands with me and accepted it. I did the right thing. I did warn them. So we have got teeth where we need them, because we will defend the quality of the group for the protection of the other members, because that's what they'd expect us to do. Frankly, I found it difficult. It was unpleasant, but I did what I needed to do. But back to your point of 6 months, I think it shows a level of confidence and commitment. I mean, our Newcastle group, probably people are listening to this thinking, you're not giving us any statistics here. Well, the Newcastle group that's been going 15 months, the retention rate right now is 83%. People go, oh, you've lost 17%. What happened to them? Some of them didn't engage and they admitted it. Some of them it just didn't work for. And some of them, unbelievably, I'm thinking of 3 or 4 of them, were dragged out the group kicking and screaming, didn't want to go, but their head offices in London or wherever said, you've got to leave because we're cancelling all networking to save money due to the current economic crisis. So they're saying, but this group's different. It's working. Why am I leaving? So they had to go. They didn't want to go, and they've all been replaced.
Very good statistics. And that probably links us quite nicely to our next episode, where we're going to be looking at the future of BMUK. Very exciting times. Thank you, as always, for your time again today, Paul. I look forward to our next episode.
Thank you for having me.
If today's episode gave you fresh insight, a practical takeaway, or simply something to think about, hit follow, leave us a rating or review, and share the episode with someone else navigating the same landscape. Networking Working is powered by Business Matching UK, a movement changing the way businesses connect, collaborate, and grow. If you're ready to take a more strategic, supported approach to your business development, one that's built on strategy, not chance, then BMUK is what you didn't know you needed. Visit www.business-matching.co.uk to explore more and register your interest.
The information in this podcast is for general guidance and entertainment purposes only. The Networking Working podcast shares ideas and experiences to inspire and inform, and we believe they can be valuable, but they may only reflect part of your own business journey. We always recommend seeking independent advice and using your own judgment to decide what's right for your business. We encourage you to do your own research before making any decisions. The opinions in this episode are our own and those of our guests, and we do our best to ensure the content is accurate and relevant at the time of recording. If you have any questions or would like to continue the conversation, you can reach us at info@business-matching.co.uk. Thank you for listening.